So weed has become so normal now that it's basically replaced drinking, and it's probably going to end up replacing vaping and who knows, maybe even cigarettes. And I'm just happy that I don't fucking smoke anymore because I remember back to a time when I was 12, 13 years old when I first started smoking, so really young. And one of the things that I noticed back then was that I would get so hyped to go smoke. I would literally do anything to be able to go out and smoke with one of my friends or just a small group of friends. I mean, it would turn into like an entire daily hassle just to go out and go smoke some bud behind a fucking school or in the fucking back of a car, like anywhere we could go smoke. We made it an entire day's plan, and it just seemed like such a nice time when I did finally get to smoke. Everything felt like it was just dissolved and gone. Like I didn't have to worry about nothing anymore. I could just sit there and be stoned and be happy. So the lie that I feel like was sold to us when it comes to weed is that weed is safe and weed is something that is a lot more healthier of an alternative to that of drinking alcohol or smoking tobacco. And in my personal opinion and my experiences that I'm going to get into, I totally disagree with that. Because don't you notice, if you, let's just say, are a daily smoker and you toke daily, one of the things that you notice is you feel like you're constantly living in some kind of mental fog. You may not be able to put your finger on it exactly and pinpoint what it exactly feels like, other than just a general fog. I mean, literally, I would just walk around all day long, and it felt like everything was just moving way too fast for me to be able to even grasp onto mentally in order to retain any of it or even process anything. And it's really a slippery slope because, yeah, I started smoking when I was 12 and 13, but then because I joined the military, I couldn't smoke anymore. Now, the trick is as soon as I got out, this is where I started to realize things and realize weed for what it really is. Right as I got out, I was so happy, not because I got out of the military and not because I was able to explore other opportunities within a career. No, I was happy because I was able to fucking smoke weed again. And that's so fucking sad, but it's fucking true. I literally just wasn't happier than for anything else other than to be able to smoke weed. So got out, very first thing I did, because I live in Florida, so it's not recreationally legal here, and I didn't have a med card, obviously. So I had to go over to a smoke shop and go buy some Delta 8. For those of you that don't know what Delta 8 is, it's basically just a substrate of THC that is psychoactive and able to get you high, but you're able to purchase it legally because it's not actually Delta 9 THC, but it still fucks you up. So I went, bought a pen, and I just remember being so happy to have this pen in my hand. I felt like you could have fucking stacked up 50 gold bricks and they weren't worth shit compared to this pen. I don't know why I was idolizing having it in my hands. And taking that first toke, I remember it was on a Friday. I just started a new job, and I started a job pretty much right when I got out, but I started this job and I was able to smoke with it because they excluded marijuana from the drug tests, right? So that Friday, I was a little bit stressed out. It was my first week at work, and I decided to smoke. And I've been looking forward to it all week. I mean, it was the highlight of my week, getting off and being able to smoke that Friday. So smoked, got really fucked up, played some COD, had some ice cream, just ate the whole house. I just fucking went for it, like balls deep into smoking that night. And then I remember Monday came around. I didn't smoke that weekend. Monday came around and I was like, man, I'm so stressed having to start this week off. So what do I do like most people probably do that toke all the time? I get off work on Monday, laying in bed. I decide to rip the Benjamin a couple times, just take a couple rips off of it. Set it down and I knock the fuck out. Go the rest of the week, rinse and repeat on that Friday. But then that's where the cycle starts to catch you, because now you're like, okay, I'm going to do it Mondays and Fridays, let's just say, like I was. And then it turns into every other day. And it turns into nightly. And then it turns into morning and night. And then long before you fucking know it, you're like me, dumb as fuck, smoking all day long. Every chance you can. Oh no, if we're gonna go out to dinner, I have to hit my pen real quick. So yeah, just walk in without me. I gotta rip this pen a couple times. Or, oh, we're about to go get breakfast. Let me roll up a blunt. Oh, okay, I gotta go grocery shopping. Yeah, I gotta smoke before I go. Oh, gym, forget about it. I'm getting absolutely ripped before I go to the gym. That was my mindset back then. And I didn't realize how much it was fucking with me, because not only had I stopped smoking regular nicotine, which was probably the best thing that could have came out of it, aside from blunts, because I did smoke a lot of blunts and that is tobacco. So technically I was still smoking nicotine, but I wasn't fixated on it like I was when I was vaping constantly. I actually stopped vaping pretty much for that whole duration, because I was just hitting the pen all the fucking time, rolling up joints, rolling up blunts, hitting bongs all the time. So I had no use to really hit a vape anymore. So that's the only net positive that really came about from it. But otherwise, nothing good came out of it. For example, I'm a pretty avid surfer. I love to surf. And when I was vaping and surfing, it sounds really surprising, at least to me, but my cardio was honestly better than a lot of my friends that also surf with me. And we also do different kinds of things like running a couple miles every other day together and different cardio activities of that sort. And one thing I noticed was that when I was vaping, my cardio was pretty good. It was pretty good. But when I was smoking weed all the time, I felt like I was more winded, and I also just didn't really have the desire to go surf. I didn't really have the desire to do much of anything but sit in the house and play video games. I mean, I didn't even really have a desire to be a father, to be honest with you. Like, I just was not in a good mental headspace whatsoever, and it was all masked because of the fact that I was smoking constantly. And if I wasn't smoking, I just didn't feel like myself. So therefore, I had to keep smoking. And I didn't realize it truthfully until I ended up going for a job that paid a lot more than what I was getting paid at my other job. And one of the requirements was obviously drug testing, because most jobs drug test. And they did not exclude marijuana like my current job did. So therefore I had to stop. I couldn't smoke. And there was no way I was going to pass up that opportunity just because I wanted to keep smoking, especially when I have a whole family. That would be one of the most selfish things I could have done. So I forced myself to stop smoking. Of course, I dragged my feet and I fucking pushed that shit out till the last fucking minute and then started detoxing. So stopped smoking, and that was the best thing I could have done, because I swear to God, the first 2 to 3 weeks of not smoking anymore, for those of you that may have done it, you already know you feel like complete shit. You can't sleep, you can't focus, your appetite's all over the place. You just do not feel the same. You don't feel normal, because your sense of normal was being constantly in a state of just being fucked up. Like, you were just in a state of being fucked. And when you're no longer feeling that way anymore, and you're kind of just hanging out with the rest of the normal people in reality, then you realize, okay, this is actually a lot more difficult to be able to conduct myself in a normal fashion, rather than just being stoned and letting everything blow by you without having a care in the world or giving a fuck. So the first 2 to 3 weeks were really, really difficult, and the urge to keep smoking was never so high. And I don't know why, because I've stopped smoking before in the past. Maybe it could have been the Delta 8, whatever the case was, but it was really fucking with me mentally. And then after about a month, 2 months just to be sure, I felt so much better. My mental clarity was there again. I was able to go to sleep at normal times. My appetite was back to normal. And I just felt more present in everyday life. And the crazy part was a lot of my friends at that time when I was smoking heavily cut me off or just excluded me from different kinds of social things that they were doing because they didn't want that one guy that's doped out of his mind who can't even really function in a social setting. Let alone, like, I didn't even really want to go to those social settings in the first place. I just realized that, hey, retroactively speaking, like, I was not getting invited to any of these parties and any of these events, anything fun that my friends were doing, I was just not invited anymore. Even surfing, I couldn't even go do that because they avoided going with me because I was just stoned 24/7 and I wasn't really enjoyable to be around when I was like that. So in quitting weed, I got that back. My family, most importantly, my wife at the time, got all of them back on board with me and just felt so much better to be able to have my family again, have my friends. Thankfully, I didn't harp on my family so much because they were resilient to the fact that I was smoking. And I guess in a way, they didn't really mind it too much because I was home most of the time because I never wanted to go out. And we're both homebodies, me and my wife. But it definitely affected my ability just to be a good father because my judgment was constantly off. So getting that back was super important to me. And I am completely blessed that I was able to get it all back without any trouble. And yeah, it's just something that I don't think I'll ever go back to again. I don't really see a need for it. And I'm not saying that weed doesn't have its place in society and that it doesn't help people. I'm just giving you guys my experiences in smoking, and you can take with it as you will. You know, I really just want to get a message across that a lot of people I feel like were sold this lie that weed is something that is beneficial no matter what, and that it surpasses everything in terms of how good it is for you in comparison. But honestly, I just don't buy into the hype of it. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below if you feel this. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.